So pushing past failure is the term that a lot of people like to use when reaching your absolute failure. Absolute failure is literally when you can't like lift the weight anymore. What a lot of people don't understand is they're doing it wrong. So what a lot of people do is they like to do, just one set, normal like that, and then as soon as they feel like a little bit more resistance than they're used to, then it's like, oh yeah, I've reached failure, I can't lift it, I'm tiring myself out, and then they drop the weight. What if I told you you're doing it wrong? What if I told you that that's only mild discomfort? You're literally pushing yourself to mild discomfort. You've probably heard that a lot on the internet where it's like, oh yeah, like bodybuilders or, people with muscle, like egotistical people, are making fun of other people trying to like build muscle in the gym. They're saying, oh, you're only pushing until mild discomfort. Honestly, like, yeah, that is a good term to use to like identify people that are pushing until they feel mildly discomfort, mildly uncomfortable. You grow muscle by being uncomfortable. Just get that through your head. That's like bare minimum. You should know that already. And if you don't, like, now you do, awesome, congratulations. If you want to build muscle, then it's gonna hurt, honestly. If at the end of the day, if your muscles aren't like sore, then you probably weren't pushing hard enough. Why do we want to reach absolute failure? So absolute failure is like a state that you want to reach in order to build as much muscle as possible. So in a previous video, I talked about how if you want to build a lot of muscle, you want to try and stay in the eccentric phase as long as possible. So the eccentric phase is when your muscle stretches out. For a bicep, it would be like this. This is the eccentric, and then the concentric phase is when your muscle contracts like that. So the eccentric stretches out, and the concentric, it contracts. You want to be in the eccentric phase as long as possible so that it sends signals to your brain to build muscle. What other things send signals to your brain is to be in failure, in the state of failure, where your muscles hurt so bad. It's literally telling your brain, hey, we need more muscles so that we can lift this weight easier. Think of it in a primal sense. Let's say you live in a rock, in a little cave, and you use some like big rock as a door, and you move it every single day. Your muscles are going to be sore the very first time because it's a really fucking heavy rock. So what does your body do? Your body thinks about it logically. Okay, I use this rock as a door, so that means it must be important to my survival so that the fucking boars and the saber-toothed tigers and the rapists, they don't come into my house. So what do? I want to make moving this door easier for me. How do I do that? I build muscle. Now listen, bro, before we go on, I want to tell you about the program that I have down in the description below, where I teach you, specifically a student or someone that's on a tight schedule, how to build muscle. I teach you everything that you need to know, from the exact workouts that you want to use, the exact workouts that you want to implement inside of your training program, how to do them, exactly what form to use, exactly the terminology that a lot of people use, what food to eat, when to eat, all of that. So if you're interested in that, then click the link in the description below, and I'll see you there. Now let's get back to the video. We build muscle so that the weight that we're lifting constantly becomes easier. This is why people do progressive overload. Progressive overload basically just means over the span of weeks and years, you just gradually add a little bit more weight onto your workouts. For a bench press is the most widely known example. It's the benchmark bench press weight that a lot of people try to get, like the milestone, is 225 pounds, which is the equivalent of 100 kilograms. You only get there through progressive overload. Every single week you're pushing it as hard as you can. Every single week you're adding a little bit more weight. That little thing, adding a little bit more weight, that's what progressive overload is. And so if we go back to the caveman, if the caveman wanted to like build muscle, what he'd do is he would move the door, he'd build muscle until he got to the point where moving this big fat rock would be easy. And then he'd be like, oh, this weird fucking caveman, he's like, oh, I'm not big enough, I want to build more muscle. So then he replaces his big rock with another rock. That's all it is. It's a really fucking weird example, like a caveman example, but we can just put it back into real life. Okay, let's say the weight that we're benching is the door, that big rock. So we're moving it every single day, boom, 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 boom. That's hundreds of reps right there. Our body realizes, holy shit, we're lifting this weight every single workout, and we're lifting this weight every time we hit chest. Okay, it must be important to our survival. That means we must make it easier so that we don't fucking risk our survival, so that we don't risk dying. Okay, how do we make it easier? We build muscle. We build muscle, we become bigger, and then lifting that weight becomes easier. But then for us, for like modern day humans, it isn't good enough, so then we add more weights. You get what I mean? Progressive overload is just adding more weights over the coming weeks. So I used to train in a way where I would only try to reach, or I would only reach mild discomfort. And then when I got to the point where it's like, you know, mildly uncomfortable, when I got to the point where it's like sort of hurting, then I'd drop it because I was like, it's too hard, whatever. But I wasn't building any muscle, and I wasn't realizing that until I watched like a couple of videos on fitness, a couple of videos like this, and I was like, holy fuck, oh, I get it. Because I'm not actually trying hard enough. But for a lot of people, that's a problem. So what do? There's 3 things that we can do. Number 1, we have to fix our mindset. This is a very important one. The other 2 are more practical, but this one, like, it will help you a lot. Do not skip these at all. Like, go in order. So number 1, we have to fix our mindset. How do we do this? So we want to trick our mind into thinking that we can actually do more. Our mind is going to be against us. If you're at the beginning of your like self-improvement journey, gym journey, then your mind is going to be sort of against you. Your mind is going to have these negative thoughts saying like, oh, you can't do it. We have to fix that. I have a lot of other videos on that, so I'm not going to focus totally on the aspect of fixing our mindset. So I'm going to go into the more practical part. We want to get to the point where we're lifting the weight, and we want to get to the point where our face is literally like scrunched up, like making like retarded faces, like, you know, I look fucking retarded then because I'm not lifting any weights, but you get what I mean. When we're lifting weights, we want to get to the point where we're like scrunching our face, like gritting our teeth, making fucking like caveman sounds, like like that. Once you get to that phase, you have at least 2 more in you. At least 2 more. Do that by yourself, and then we can move on to the next step. The next step would be assisted reps. Assisted reps can help you get a lot closer to failure. The first step got you a little bit closer to failure. This one gets you a lot closer to failure. So when we get to the point that we're like gritting our face, we're like being really uncomfortable, assisted reps, depending on the workout, can help a lot to getting closer to failure. And we'll take this a step further in the next step, in the next tip. So with assisted reps, you can only do this with a couple of different workouts, like one arm tricep pushdowns or tricep extensions. You can't really do it with both unless you have somebody else with you, but that's another point. I'll use the shoulder, the lateral raises as an example. We're lifting it like that, and then we get to the point where we're like scrunching our teeth, we're like, ugh, like that. You literally can't lift it anymore. What you do is just add a little bit of extra force with your other arm, and then you'll see that you can lift it a lot easier. That little bit of force help you go a long way in achieving failure. And of course we want to achieve failure because it helps us build muscle. So what I would recommend doing is doing at least like 3 and then at most 5 reps, like assisted reps, including with a bench press. I would do about 3 of these, but of course you can't do it a bench press by yourself. Try and get a spotter. That's what a spotter is. A spotter just makes sure like the bar doesn't actually fall on you, and to help you go past failure. This is why a lot of people have spotters. So you want to go to the point that you scrunch your face, then you want to do 5 assisted reps, but be careful here because you don't want to add too much force from your other hand. Like let's say I'm doing it with my right hand right here. I'm doing right, I'm going to failure, I'm scrunching my face, I can't lift anymore. I don't want to lift, I don't want to add too much force with my left hand, because then it takes away a lot of the tension that's supposed to be in my right shoulder. So I just add like a little bit, like let's say like, I don't know, 5 newtons of force or whatever it may be. That can do a lot. Literally just do a little bit. Do it to the point where your right arm, or like the arm that's doing the workout, do it to the point where that's still doing most of the workout. And then on the way down, this is the super important part, on the way down, you do it completely by yourself. So with a bench press, right, you'd be boom, pushing. Someone would help you up, but then on the way down, on the eccentric, specifically on the eccentric phase in any workout, you're doing it completely by yourself. You want the resistance to be completely in you. On the concentric phase, on the way up in this example, someone would help you, but then the eccentric in the stretch phase, completely by yourself. You want all the tension to be in you. And now, this is going to be the very hardest step. Step number 3, or tip number 3, would be a drop set. This is absolutely fucked. Like I'm telling you, you can take this to insane levels to grow your shoulders, to grow your chest an insane amount. So once you get to the point where you like completed 1 set with the scrunchy face and the assisted reps, lower the weight a little bit. With a bench press, let's say you're doing, I don't know, 2 plates, like 45, 45, 45, and 45. Replace the 2 out of 45s with like, I don't know, a 10. Boom, bang those out. and then do the exact same steps 1 and 2. Just repeat this cycle. You can take this a long way to get to like 100% failure where like you're about to die, but honestly, I wouldn't recommend that. In my eyes, it's just like, it takes too much time. But if you are focusing on like 100% building muscle right now, if you can commit to that, and if you do have the time, then it's like, okay, fair enough. But a lot of people don't have the time. A lot of people have like a strict schedule, which again, I do talk about in my course down in the description below. So I would recommend just sticking to about like 2 to 3 drop sets. With a lateral raises, I do about 3 drop sets. And with a bench press, like specifically with the cable press, this one, not with the dumbbells, with the cable ones, I do about 2, right? So I just like, I do that, I go to failure, and then I do the scrunchy face, all of that. And then when I lower the weights, I just move it up, or like, yeah, I lower the weight a little bit, and then I do that until failure again, and then that's one set for me. Apply all 3 of those tips, and you will guaranteed build muscle, like absolutely guaranteed. It took me from like a skinny little bitch, like not a bitch, but like a skinny little like bitch body, to like being absolutely fucking jacked. I'm like, I don't want to be narcissistic or egotistical about it, but like, fuck yeah, I have a lot of muscle, and I'm fucking proud of it. Like, this is exactly what I did. I started applying these steps to bring myself closer to failure and to like make the eccentric phase as long as possible. I started applying these, and then suddenly I started building a ton more muscle. As soon as I locked in, as soon as I started focusing on the gym, it's like, what the fuck? I'm getting results. As long as you stay focused, as long as you stay focused on the gym, as long as you're locked in, then you'll build muscle. Follow the steps that I told you in this video and you will build muscle, guaranteed. You just have to push yourself. At the end of the day, it all comes down to you. Remember that. So if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. Comment down below if it helped you. I have the program down in the description again, where I help you build muscle as a student, specifically people on a tight schedule. I teach you what to eat, when to eat, how to build muscle, like exactly what workouts to do, how to do them. And that's it, pretty much. I'll see you next time.